Good morning. I'm looking out through that window again, continuing thinking about this post-Trump-matic feelings of the United States election, the post-Trump-matic feelings that you all are experiencing in the world. And I made the first video, and maybe I went good. And well, one of the things I want to talk about in this video, and I'm really entitling this video, is presidents change, but the foreign policy of the imperialistic states of America doesn't change. And I say the imperialistic states of America because you have genuine people in the United States that recognize they're part of the bigger America, the North, Central, and South America. And they don't agree with the policies of their warmongering government. And that's why I mean the foreign policies don't change. If it had been Clinton that had won the election, the same foreign policies that we're going to see over the next 4 years, and well, 8 years as I'm predicting and thinking, will continue. You see, the foreign policies of the United States is what creates terrorists. And terrorism and wars creates profits for many people that are inside the imperialistic states of America's government. A lot of time the media tries to portray to us that the reason people in the Middle East hate Westerners or people in white people, let's just put it out there, and well, yeah, y'all Latino people too, is because of our lifestyles here in the West. Our acceptance of a more free and open society, of people's sexuality, their gender, their race, their religion. We try to live tranquilo. We try to live united as a people, no matter what our different political views are. And we try to resolve things in a different manner, you know, and not just that. You'd have to say that, especially in this modern time, the West has pulled away from a lot of its orthodox religious traditions that used to have them just as bad as today's Middle Eastern culture and traditional tribal customs and life. Because if you look into the culture of the Middle East, not all of it, but in certain areas, they have very strict traditions and laws that are based on their belief systems. But just those beliefs alone don't cause them to hate others that don't live by that code. What causes them to hate that is the missiles that drop on their lands and kills their children. The companies in cahoots with governments that come and steal their natural resources and exploit some of their natural resources. These are the things that cause them to become terrorists. Many people think that the so-called Islamic State is something that has been created by the United States and Al-Qaeda. Now, I would say that the media persona of these organizations is what has been created by the United States. But genuinely, you maybe have people in those parts of the world that are fighting against this foreign policy. And that ideology, that thinking of their belief, invigorates them to fight up against an enemy that's bigger than them. Because if you think about it, these are small, rural community people that have lived in the bush or the mountains or the deserts there in the Middle East. They don't have any formal training or any connection to big technology or big time missiles and bombs that all of these governments that are invading their lands have. So what invigorates them is their belief system. And I think people try to overlook that and try to blame it that that's what actually started this cause, that belief system that is being used in their raw manner, a very raw manner, cutting people's heads off, brutal hangings, and The list goes on. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, and we don't even see it in the media. We see the tip of the iceberg of the things that are going on in the Middle East. But the number one cause has been the foreign policy, especially of United States presidents. And as much as Obama and his administration is going to set had some things that, you know, would make you think, wow, man, this guy is great. He continued that same foreign policy that George Bush had continued, that the Clintons had started, that Reagan, etc., all the way back to when the war profiteering companies had taken over the government of the United States, the big corporations, when the oligarchy began. So even though the president of the United States has changed, and domestically speaking, I mean, a lot maybe is going to change for some of y'all in the United States. Some of the different things that are in your internal laws. The foreign policy will continue. It might even get trumped up under Trump. We'll see what takes place. Here at KOL, I'm hoping that we can knock out some of the terrorist organizations that are destroying the country of Syria, and knock out some of these terrorist organizations that are all out the world. But the only way to really knock them out is not by putting more investment into the war machine. You know, that's not the answer at all. So domestically speaking, a lot is going to change in the United States, and maybe it's better that you all in the United States worry about your own messes and try to resolve your own differences instead of going in different parts of the world perpetuating the war machine that really is not even the people's. It belongs to this elitist nobility that has been elected again or crowned. So congratulations to King Trump. And well, I hope the best that we could eventually have a real government in the United States of America that represents its people, and not this oligarchy, this imperialism, this war machine that, again, despite the changing of the crown, will continue. So until next time, keep looking out the window.